Yes, the big rigs back out next for race 2 of their this weekend. And before we get this second race underway, where the grid will be set by the second fastest times from qualifying this morning, let's hear from a few of the drivers.
Right then, I might or might not have lied in the previous video, but here we are now anyway with a little bit of post/pre-race. The season has well and truly begun. We're of course joined here with two Division 1 drivers, Neil Yates of MYR Neil Yates Recoveries. You'll see these beautiful livery trucks, and of course returning amazing driver Steve Powell. Now Steve, we'll start with you of course, age before beauty. You've been around this track a few times yourself now, haven't you?
Yeah, a few times, yeah. Could say that, yeah.
Experience before beauty, shall we call it like that instead? I don't want to make you, there's still brown hair, it's fine.
Digging a hole now.
I am, yeah, really. So I'd use my shovel to dig it. Yeah. Anyway, interesting start. Obviously, we're still shaking out some cobwebs, but finding our feet. I mean, you know, no major incidents. So how do you feel about that start?
No, it was a fair enough race. We're a bit off the pace, which we're quite disappointed about, to be fair. Qualified 5th. When I heard it on the radio, I was a bit gutted till I see how close we was to 3rd. So. But yeah, just a bit off the pace with a few of them in front. So got a few issues. Totally repiped the brake system, and it's a new build lorry. So just building the confidence up with the new brakes. It will 100% get better. It's just quite frustrating. But yeah, it's early in the year. I'm very proud of Neil doing his fastest lap on the last lap, which is brilliant because we've been helping Neil a lot, and he was testing a few weeks ago and he smashed it, and now he's getting, every time he goes out, it's quicker and quicker, which is the old idea. So, I mean, pace-wise, we're literally half a second off Bowler and Michael, a second off of Jenkins, and a second and a bit off of Ryan. So we probably close the gap a little bit on Ryan, but unfortunately there's a few in the middle. So it's so close and it makes such a difference, you know. So we'll see how the reverse grids play out, but I don't really want to look at that this season like reverse grids. We're talking about qualifying and finishing. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is it. You've got to, set your shop up earlier on in the weekend and make it stick. And Neil, I hear rumblings in the background. You've been out practicing and doing very well. Oh, go on.
No, we didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
You didn't do anything. It was all a lie. It was all a lie. It was like, yeah, don't know. This is him without practice.
It was all official.
It was all official.
Yeah.
So, very nice new truck. Obviously, it's in one piece still.
That's
Brilliant
good. We aim to keep it that way.
And have you done much work over the winter season with it and worked on anything?
Yeah, pretty much. It's been stripped down to the chassis as well, engine and box out, check everything over, repaint, re-sticker, re-livery. So all in all, it's pretty much cosmetic with a few little fundamental changes to update with this year's requirements.
And I heard we owe a bit of a nod to the decal people, as the paint was still drying quite close to the weekend, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And they just, I mean, let me just draw attention to the fact, they do look absolutely phenomenal, don't they? I mean,
we've done it together. We've switched the names. We've got a few new sponsors coming on board this year, so it's really exciting. Neil's brought them to the table, so yeah, and we will go out and we do well. We run as a team. The boys are brilliant. It's hard to run two trucks, but
I've just realised the 333 Motorsport is that intended because of the 33 and the 3?
No.
No, you know what? You can just go away. You can, troublemaker.
No, there is a method to that,
and there's even more to it than that. I'll let Steve take it.
So my daughter Lex is going to start racing the Junior Saxos this year, being Pembury her first event with us. So she's obviously going to go number treble 3. So it's treble 3 motorsport, which includes all sort of motorsport, and we're going to build a portfolio as racing and carry on. Yeah,
growing a brand. I like that.
Absolutely, it just stands out, doesn't it?
It certainly does. The future is bright. The future is 333 Motorsport.
Absolutely.
Right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Fantastic start to the weekend. We hope
it's
to.
A pleasure.
Of course, never a chore. We hope to be seeing you again soon on the podium. And speaking of which, that means I've got to go and do some other work now, which you might have already seen or not seen yet. But who knows? That's the magic of television, isn't it? Back to somebody somewhere, maybe in a studio.
Yes, thanks, Pointy. Back at trackside then, ready for our next race here at Brands Hatch, race number 2 of the weekend for the trucks. As we've said, the grid for this one set by the second fastest time for each truck in qualifying, so it's virtually the same grid as race 1, with Ryan Smith in pole position again, the only driver to lap under 1 minute in qualifying. David Jenkins will again start alongside John Bowler and Michael Oliver on road 2. The two drivers on row 3 have swapped around. Stuart Oliver starts 5th this time, and Stephen Powell alongside. Bit of breaking news there for Steve. His daughter starting racing, so good luck to Lexi on her debut at Pembrey in the junior saloon cars. Row 4, Tom O'Rourke, and the first of the Division 2 trucks, Paul Rivett. And John Powell and Neil Yates on row 5. Simon Cole and David Smith will complete the grid. Well, things got a bit fraught in Division 2 in race 1. A bit of argy-bargy leaving Paul Rivett to start his title defence with the win, while Ryan Smith was never headed out in front. 3 more races to come, and of course tomorrow we've got the reverse grids coming into play as well. The grid for race 3 will be set by the results of race 1 that we had earlier on today, but with the top 8 on the grid reversed. The top 8 from the result reversed on the grid, I should say. So it will be Paul Rivett on pole because he finished 8th. So we'll have a Division 2 truck on pole for the first race tomorrow. Pace truck bringing them up to the grid then. Looks like it's the GT Tyres MAN this time that will lead them round. We've got a couple of pace trucks here this weekend. As I say, we haven't got Mick Gould Commercials Peterbilts out there because I think that's a bit too big to fit round Brands Hatch on a pace lap. Superb looking thing there. So Daimler Freightliner and MAN on the front row. MAN, the numerically dominant make in the championship. One Iveco, that of Simon Cole. It was the Reed brothers who raced their Ivecos over the last few years, but they're racing on the continent this year. One Volvo, that of Stuart Oliver. The DAF of John Powell. And that new International Navistar of Tom O'Rourke. Very similar looking to the truck of Ryan Smith. The Bugira Freightliner, as they're known on the continent. I think it was Ollie Janes, number 22, the last driver to race one of those in the UK. I remember that having a big crash, unfortunately, at Pembrey a few years ago. David Smith's last meeting all those years ago was in a Finnish-built Sisu. Trying to remember who the last driver to race a Sisu in the British Championship was. It was James Aitkenhead, possibly. I saw that out at Thruxton a few years back. Truck racing, of course, started back in November 1984 with an event at Donington Park, and it attracted, I think, Donington Park's biggest ever crowd at the time to see the new phenomenon. A number of celebrity drivers took part. Martin Brundle was out there, the Grimer brothers of hot rod racing fame. Barry Sheen went on to race trucks fairly regularly, along with his great friend and rival from the world of motorcycle racing, Steve Parish, who went on to become a European truck racing champion once his bike career was over. It was the Italian Giulio Ghislotti who won the first ever race in a road-going truck that he'd driven over from Italy. How times change, these purpose-built racing machines. Sport has gone from strength to strength ever since. This year, the 40th anniversary of truck racing in the UK. 12 trucks get underway. I'm sure we'll see grid numbers increase as the season goes on. Thanks for all your comments on the stream. There's not been much time to read them today. Fred Neal says, well done, Dan Neal. Second in our Caterham race. Time for our second big rig race of the weekend then. Can anyone stop flying Ryan Smith? He continues the first day of his quest for a 9th consecutive championship. The Olivers were in good form earlier on. It's for Stephen Powell as well with his new MAN TGA number 3. In the colours of Neil Yates' recovery. Neil, his protégé, a little bit further back on the grid. Looks like we're missing John Powell, unfortunately, this time. The number 6 with some damage from earlier on. So just 2 Division 2 trucks out there. Hopefully he'll be back out tomorrow in the DAF. So 11 trucks on the grid for this 15-minute race. MN pace truck is in pit lane. Ryan Smith and David Jenkins bring the field up towards the lights. When the red lights go out, the power will be unleashed. Race 2 for the British Truck Racing Championship at Brands Hatch will be underway. Revs start to rise. And off they go. Oh, and already look at this, pushing and shoving on the way down. They haven't even crossed the start line. And David Jenkins trying to lean on Ryan Smith. We said these two are big rivals. Into that first corner they go at Paddock Bend. Ryan Smith's got the inside. Oh, spin for Tom O'Rourke. Is he going to go into the gravel? Just drops off the inside. Neil Yates takes to the gravel in avoidance. O'Rourke is stuck there. So Ryan Smith has the lead. John Bowler is up into third. Then it's the Olivers. Bowler's gone wide on the exit of Druids. Trying to see if those trucks can recover at the back of the field there, because I think Tom O'Rourke may still be stuck there. We'll wait and see it when they come round to complete the first lap. Paul Rivette leads Division 2 ahead of Simon Cole in the 41. Yes, in the background there you can see Tom O'Rourke stuck, facing the wrong way. It's not been a happy day so far for the Scotsman after his long journey down to Kent. Now, will the race continue? Will we see a full course yellow come out? Because they have the option to do that this year, use the full course yellow conditions, but we're still under green by the look of it at the moment. Over the line goes Ryan Smith, completing his first lap ahead of Jenkins, Bowler, the Olivers, Stephen Powell. Then it's Paul Rivette. The race is continuing with Tom O'Rourke stuck there. Now, is Neil Yates still going? I haven't seen him come through. Whether he's got going again at the back, I'm not sure. And yes, full course yellow is now out. We see VSC, virtual safety car. It should be virtual safety truck, shouldn't it? So we are under full course yellow. The trucks will be slowed down into single file. Neil Yates, I can tell you, is still going after his trip through the gravel, further back behind David Smith. There he is at the back of the lineup at the moment. So the trucks will slow down. Now let's see what's going to happen here. Will they bring in a vehicle to try and recover Tom O'Rourke while the full course yellow is out? This is, of course, to save the situation we saw quite often last year, where a race was red flagged early on. Everything had to be put back on the grid and restarting when everything was clear. At least it keeps the trucks moving, keeps the race going. A new feature for this year, Neil Yates being able to catch up as a result of that after his off. So under the virtual safety truck here at Brands Hatch. Well, Jenkins and Ryan Smith were already leaning on each other going into the first corner. It was further back that's Tom O'Rourke. He clipped the back of Stuart Oliver and round he went. Neil Yates took to the gravel in avoidance. Was able to keep going, but O'Rourke stuck there just on the edge of the circuit, exactly where Simon Kendrick's MG went off earlier on. And he's got going again, that's good. So this should bring about the end of the full course yellow, and we should be able to get back underway and racing. 12 minutes still on the clock. Now, will we go back to green immediately, or will it be when they get back round to the start-finish line? We'll wait and see. They're coming up to Druids. We've never seen this before in UK truck racing. I know when clubs use code 60 rules under the purple flags, the code 60 can be lifted at any point on the circuit and the race gets back underway again, but we've not seen this in truck racing before. I imagine it will be when they get back round to the start-finish line. They're still under yellow at the moment. Ryan Smith effectively becomes the pace truck. Slows the field down. Ryan Smith certainly not used to driving this slowly, it has to be said. Keeping it steady at the moment. Will we see a green as they come off Clark Curve onto the Sir Jack Brabham straights? Just under 11 minutes of racing to go. David Jenkins on the rear bumper of Ryan Smith's truck, hoping to surprise him and make a move into paddock if we go green this time. Keeping it steady at the moment. We go green once again. Here we go. And up towards paddock they come then. Now the race gets back underway into Paddock Hill Bend. Ryan Smith has held his lead from David Jenkins. John Bowler is in third place. Bowler with a decent restart. So is Michael Oliver, having a look up the outside there. He won't get through at Druids. He might get the line away for Graham Hill Bend. Here they come. Down the hill, I think Michael Oliver's going to go through. Yes, on the inside for third. Side by side with Bowler. Absolutely together into the left-hander. Oliver's got the inside line, though. John Bowler over the curbs. Who's going to come out there? Still side by side in the run down Cooper straight into Surtees. Michael Oliver finally gets the move done up into third place. It's Ryan Smith from David Jenkins. Then the Olivers sandwiching John Bowler in that fourth place. Just one win for John last season at Thruxton. Stephen Powell up there in sixth position. So the first ever full course yellow working very well there, allowing Tom O'Rourke to rejoin. He is a lap down on the rest of the field, of course. Thunder their way into Paddock Hill Bend once again. The battle starting to heat up for third. Stuart Oliver, after a few problems in qualifying, down on the third row. He wants to be up there with the two leaders. Paul Rivette leads Division 2 in seventh place. Neil Yates a lap down as well, I think. No, he's not. He is on the lead lap, sorry. Stephen Powell in P6, Rivette in P7. And David Smith up into 8th position. He's ahead of Simon Cole. Yates is 10th. O'Rourke a lap down in 11th. Third place battle comes through Surtees into McLaren and up to the right at Clearways. A bit of damage there on the left side of Paul Rivette. Maybe a bit of rubbing off the start line in the Napa MAN. Flicks it sideways there into Clark curves. Brings them onto the Brabham straight. Across the stripe they go once again. Ryan Smith leads by 0.8 of a second. Look at the representative lap times next time around. Still getting back up to speed after that caution period. David Smith ahead of O'Rourke. As we mentioned, O'Rourke is a lap down. At least able to learn the truck this weekend, his new machine. Might have had a big smash at Thruxton a few years ago at the chicane, along with John Newell, who's now contesting the European Championship. O'Rourke goes through. That won't be for position, though, because he is a lap down. Past David Smith. Very smart-looking MAN, the ex-Ryan Smith machine. Tom O'Rourke does look pretty quick here in that international Navistar, the bonneted truck. Simon Cole still going, second in Division 2. Hopefully we'll see, as we say, John Powell's DAF back out tomorrow, the black machine. John Bowler is not finished yet. He's shadowing Michael Oliver for third. Let's have a look at the lap times as they cross the line. Yes, John Bowler was slightly quicker that time through, only by about 0.3 of a second. Ryan Smith leads, fastest lap of the race, 58.92 seconds. Just over 1.5 seconds in it. John Bowler has a quick look there into the hairpin at Druids. Stuart Oliver giving chase. Just under 7 minutes left, so we're just past halfway in this second of our truck races this weekend. Bit of a slide there for John Bowler, the man from up in Stockport. Certainly a shame we don't have some of our Division 2 runners out from last season. Adam Bint choosing to race on the continent in his Volvo white Aerodyne. And the veteran campaigner Jim Bennett, Gentleman Jim, not out this weekend with his venerable Seddon Atkinson. Hopefully we'll see him reappear as the season goes on. Great character is Gentleman Jim. There's Tom O'Rourke in the MV Commercials International. David Smith running well, easing his way back into truck racing after that long absence. And Simon Cole, always a fan favourite, used to run the Mercedes Beast, as it used to be known. It was in partnership with Team Hard of touring car fame. This Iveco known as the Pink Panther. And Cole comes from Dartford, just east of London. 7 laps completed, the lead up to over 2 seconds now. Ryan Smith's pulling away once again, but not pulling away is Michael Oliver. John Bowler on his tail. They took a win apiece last season. It was, of course, Ryan Smith and Stuart Oliver who divided up the majority of the wins between them. David Jenkins had a couple of wins as well. Ryan Smith, inch perfect out front in the Northside truck and van Daimler Freightliner. 5 minutes remain. Paul Rivette over the curbs there, coming out of Paddock Bend. Big saloon car start. Looking to dominate Division 2 this season. Ryan Smith began his career in Division 2. I think he raced a Sisu at one point in the early part of his career as well, the Finnish-built truck, made famous in the European Championship by Jocke Kallio and Reima Soderman in the early days of truck racing. Kallio, an ex-rallycross driver, which is probably good training for truck racing. John Bowler up onto the tail again. He's going to try again to attack Michael Oliver. But number 12 MAN cannot shake off the 14. He's not going to go around the outside at Paddock, sure. Struggles to do that in a car, never mind a truck, and Oliver runs him wide. I don't think he realised John Bowler was there on the outside that time. It's the main focus at the moment, this three-way battle. Here comes the 10-time champion, Stuart Oliver up the outside. Very close as they come through Druids. Down to Graham Hill Bend. Lead gap is up to over 3 seconds now. Another fastest lap for Ryan Smith, 58.72 seconds. Sounds more like the winning time in a speedway heat, not a truck race. Still in 6th place is Stephen Powell, a slightly lonely race for him. So Paul Rivette's only a couple of seconds behind him. And now John Bowler's having to begin to defend because Stuart Oliver's turning up the pressure. The lap times were virtually identical last time through. See what they are this time over the line. Yes, Oliver was the quicker by 0.3 of a second, so he's in attacking mode. Here's David Jenkins, the man from Stafford, the Digraph Transport MAN. A little bit of a change in livery this year with new sponsors coming on board. And that steam coming off the front wheels there, that's from the water-cooled brakes on these trucks. See it on Michael Oliver as well. Average speed again, just under 75 miles an hour around Brands Hatch. All these trucks with their speed limited to 100 miles an hour. They used to be fitted with a governor. Now probably more done through electronic software. Governors used to be fitted by the famous Lucas company in Birmingham. Big sponsors of truck racing in its early days. We used to have the Lucas Truck Super Prix that took place at venues such as Donington, even at Silverstone. If you look on YouTube, there's quite a bit of footage of trucks from the late 80s around the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, featuring the likes of the legendary Kurt Goranson, the late Slim Borgard, Richard Walker, and many more great names besides. Steve Parrish, who already mentioned, the former motorcycle star. Way through Graham Hill Bend once again. Michael Oliver's pulled away just a little bit. Stewart runs a bit wide behind these two in the Volvo. Ryan Smith still leads, but his last lap was a little slower. 1 minute, 0.364. David Jenkins stabilised the gap a little. These three are about 7 seconds behind Jenkins now. Stephen Powell still 6th, then Rivette, David Smith, Simon Cole, Neil Yates, Tom O'Rourke still a lap behind. Ryan Smith with just over a minute to go now. He'll be coming round to start his final lap this time. It's going to be 2 out of 2 for the champion. He won 16 races last year. Can he beat that record this year? He is determined to break all records in British truck racing. David Jenkins keeping him in sight. Yeah, the gap came down again last time through. It's down to 2.6 seconds now. Don't think Jenkins is quite going to catch him. A little bit of smoke or steam coming off Ryan's truck there. That's not coming from the wheels. Is he dropping fluid? See what the gap is this time through. Yeah, the gap's down to 2.2 seconds now, so whether Ryan Smith has got a minor problem, I'm not sure, but we're on the last lap now. He's just got to survive this final lap. There's definitely some steam or smoke coming from the right-hand side there, just behind the cab, so whether there is an issue for the number one. Jenkins is definitely reeling him in, but I think he's going to run out of time to catch him. Yes, there you can see it, just behind the front wheel. Whether it is just steam coming off the brakes or whether there is something further amiss, there's a bit of steam coming off Jenkins' truck as well. He's definitely getting the gap down, but I think Smith's going to hang on. Flying Ryan will take his second win. Jenkins over the curb there at Surtees. Flying Ryan has definitely taken it fairly easy over these last few laps. He's going to hang on for win number 2 of the day, though. 2 out of 2 for Flying Ryan Smith. Across the line. Well, the clock has counted down to 0, but the timing screen still says green. So are we racing on? I thought that was going to be the last lap. But no checkered flag show. We saw that in race 1 as well. Is there an issue with the timing, maybe? Yes. My timing screen still saying green. Ryan Smith races on, so are we doing one more lap here? Jenkins has got the gap down to just under 2 seconds as they cross the line. Is it going to be checkered flag at this time? Still ahead by a few lengths of David Jenkins. Still no checkered flag. 15 laps completed. The timing screen went to 0 2 laps ago. What's going on? Oh, we're still racing on. Meanwhile, Michael Oliver still ahead of John Bowler. Stuart Oliver still there in P5. But by my reckoning, the checkered flag should have come out 2 laps ago when the clock went down to 0. Still Ryan Smith staying ahead of David Jenkins. What's going to happen as they cross the line this time then? Now the checkered flag appears on the timing screen, so by my reckoning we did 2 extra laps there, but we'll see what the timekeepers say. Ryan Smith takes the win, ahead of David Jenkins by 1.66 seconds. Third goes to Michael Oliver, then John Bowler and Stuart Oliver 4th and 5th. Stephen Powell 6th. Paul Rivette will come over in 7th and will win Division 2 for the 2nd time. And then it's going to be David Smith in P8. Second in Division 2 will be Simon Cole in 9th. Neil Yates 10th after a trip through the gravel. And Tom O'Rourke has already crossed the line a lap in arrears. So a slightly confusing end there. Apologies for that bit of confusion. Race running on a bit longer than it should have done. Or did they add time on at the end because of the full course yellow? I wonder if laps under yellow maybe don't count. I'll have to double check that with the officials. Did they add time on because of the yellow? That's what we see in British touring cars, of course. They add laps on if there's a safety car. So maybe that's what caught us out there. If that is the case, I apologise. But surely if in a timed race, if there's time going to be added on at the end, the clock should stop during the yellow to avoid any confusion. Well, here's the provisional result then. Ryan Smith the winner ahead of David Jenkins. Michael Oliver completing the top 3, same podium as race 1. John Bowler holding off Stuart Oliver this time for 4th place, Stephen Powell in P6, Paul Rivett in 7th wins Division 2, ahead of David Smith in P8, Simon Cole 2nd of the Division 2 runners, then Neil Yates and Tom O'Rourke after that incident on the first corner complete the finishers. John Powell was a non-starter. Well, let's hand down to Pointy then in the pit lane in Parc Fermé.
Testing, I'm live, I'm ready, rock and roll, come on now. Oh, we're live, we're live, fantastic. Usually I get a countdown, but here we are, here you are, and here is Mr. Ryan Smith, 2nd race of the season, 2nd win of the weekend. Where is it? Are they getting out of their job? We got Alan. Alan's already in. You sure we're all right, Alan? Alan's done one. Oh no, are you getting out? Okay. Ryan Smith's not getting out. Dave Jenkins is already out. He's here. Dave, fantastic race again. Clean start at the front, obviously. You were probably nowhere near the back to be seen, were you, when we had a little bit of a spin?
No, saw a bit of it in the mirror, and the virtual safety car worked, didn't it? It was good.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Good entertainment. Ryan, well, I think he was running out of brakes at the end, and that was where he got his water on, trying to get his brake temperature under control. But even up until that point, we've made a big step forward from this morning, so we're coming.
Yeah, you are absolutely fantastic. And yeah, again, on the point of the virtual safety car, we obviously spoke about that in drivers' briefing yesterday. A lot of drivers had their concerns. Laps were actually added on to the end of the race just then.
I, for one, was sceptical of the virtual safety car because I still maintain, I think if there's a truck up to its axles in the gravel, they're going to struggle to get it out. In that circumstance there, it was brilliant. It made for entertainment for the crowd, it cleared it up, it kept the race going, gave us all something new to think about.
Indeed, absolutely fantastic. And of course, less stress for the guys on the circuit having to clean things up as well. So Dave, thank you very much. He's gone. Ryan is contemplating by the looks of it, so that's all we've got time for down here in the pit lane. The marshals are shifting the trucks back on. Let's just go for a little B-roll of them rolling out, shall we?
Make their way back into the pits. We'll have a look at some highlights of that race. There was a bit of argy-bargy right off the line between David Jenkins and Ryan Smith, but it was behind. The problem started as a mistake from the 86 of Tom O'Rourke, sent him spinning. Everybody avoided him. Neil Yates through the gravel in avoidance, and the first ever virtual safety truck came out to allow Tom O'Rourke to extricate his truck from the gravel trap. The main highlight of the race thereafter was a good scrap between Michael Oliver and John Bowler for 3rd place, with Stuart Oliver giving chase. There was a bit of contact between the two of them at one point into Druids, but they managed to survive it. And with time added on at the end of the race, it was Ryan Smith who was able to race to victory over David Jenkins.